Eskom says the conclusion of a new wage deal with workers doesn't mean load shedding will end immediately. Yesterday, Eskom reached that agreement with unions, bringing to an end labour action that Eskom blamed for plunging the country into stage 6 load shedding. It includes a 7% across-the-board increase for all workers, coupled with a housing allowance of 400 rand a month. Eskom says some generation units have returned to service, but this is not enough to suspend load shedding altogether. Megawatt Park also says it'll take a few weeks for the generating system to recover to where it was before the strike. We'll see stage 5 load shedding today and tomorrow, varying stages to look forward to for the rest of the week. Well, if that wasn't enough, there's still so many other problems around our electricity situation and our power infrastructure. Even the ANC talking about this in the last 24 hours or so, with accusations of people sabotaging parts of our infrastructure. At the same time, in Ekurhuleni, there are particular problems. Community members are now calling for action from the council, from the Metro, against illegal connections and to stop cable theft. The member of the Mayoral Committee for Water, Sanitation and Energy is Senzi Sibeko. This is an Ekurhuleni. Councillor, good afternoon to you and thank you for your time. How big a problem is cable theft and illegal connections for you in Ekurhuleni at the moment?
Hi, Stephen. Thank you for having me and good day to your viewers. The issue is extremely frustrating and extremely large. We are faced with, a mammoth task on our hands. We have illegal connections, obviously, that also, speak to the socio-economy, of some of our areas. But we also have vandalism and especially cable theft, also that, is a big problem in our city. And as you just mentioned now that we have had community members actually taken to our council of offices, asking that we tackle some of these illegal connection vandalism and and cable theft.
I mean, in some cases, people are without electricity for a very long period of time. You know how dire this is. Some people need electricity to keep oxygen systems going. It's impossible to live like this.
No, of course. I mean, if things were different, we would like for everyone to have, uninterrupted power supply. And this is basically what this new administration is actually fighting for. And this is unfortunately having had to inherit some of the problems and the challenges, that we also have to work on. But I think currently we're all facing the same monster, that obviously with the load shedding and obviously the cable theft that seems to, be on a rise every single day. So yes, it is frustrating that you'll have people going off, on load shedding, which is scheduled, but then during that period, we have people who are actually actively stealing our cable during that period because of there's no power within that area. And when power is supposed to be restored in those respective communities, you find that they are not, there's no restoration. And then obviously you would have issues which you've just highlighted now of not just people who are living on oxygen, but, newborn babies. We are in a winter season right now. Not every single person, can survive in this kind of conditions. So obviously, having heat of some sort, our electricity supply, would be of great need during this period.
And illegal connections, I mean, we know how big a problem it is in Soweto. How big a problem is it for you?
Please, if you can just repeat that.
Illegal connections, Councillor Sibeko. We know illegal connections are a big problem in Soweto for Eskom. How big a problem are they in Ekurhuleni?
Huge. I mean, it's huge. It's a huge problem. And this, when we had our meeting earlier with the residents is, as I mentioned earlier, that it's also a socioeconomic a challenge because of now you have communities that are fighting each other. Now you have in many instances how formal housing and informal housing, or informal settlements, and you find that there is always that activity, with the communities that might not necessarily have power supply. And then when you try and as a city try and remove those illegal connections, then you are also left with the task of how do you then make sure that people who do not have electricity, also do get infrastructure, which, as I said also earlier, that, have inherited some of these challenges we now face with. How do we ensure that communities who are without power or infrastructure to supply them with power also have, those kind of services from the city? So it's a much bigger problem. That now you find that communities, this tension between communities, people who are, saying that they have been paying their bills and towards the city, yet they suffer the same consequences when it comes to not having power. Yet there's people who are not legally connected, and they seem to have a connection. So it is a huge problem that we are trying to resolve, and as I keep on mentioning, the socioeconomic problem, that it involves other spheres of government and other departments for us to sit down and be able to find solutions as how to, to service these communities.
There are so many different things happening here. You've got the problems with Eskom, you've got the illegality of connections, you've got the sheer criminality of cable theft. You can't, no one can police, all of Ekurhuleni. No one can do that anyway. But a community can. How important is community involvement? How important is it for people to report the illegal connections that they see, or to report cable theft when they see it happening?
Yeah, no, for sure. That is definitely a solution. We've had a few meetings where I've actually spoken to community members asking that they assist the city, in ensuring that the infrastructure is protected. Speaking to you right now, the community that was in our premises was of Germiston, and we do have a meeting with them, or a public meeting this coming Saturday, to address some of those issues. But part of it is to also plead, and ask the community that as much as we will be able to, as the energy department, supply, the energy and be able to also put infrastructure, but it is pointless when the infrastructure is there and then you find that within the community you still have those criminal elements, and those are people within those communities. So we do need assistance, definitely, from community members to to give us information and to assist us in ensuring that we do bring such people to book. And we also do have, I'm not too sure if you're aware of Kempton Park area, that also was out, for days, also have that kind of engagement with them as well this coming Thursday. So we are going on each and every community. It will be across the city where we will be engaging and asking community members to also work with our community safety department, and also with whatever structures that will try and enforce the law. But community members will be quite helpful to ensure that we deal effectively with these criminal elements.
Councillor, it's very likely that someone's watching you at home right now and thinking to yourself, where I live in Ekurhuleni, it's never going to get better, that this is just going to be a situation that just gets worse. What do you believe is going to happen?
No, the situation definitely is not going to get worse, because as we have come in as the new administration, we've obviously had to assess and look at what possibilities and what solutions that we might have. Many a times people that when you have a budget, especially like we have passed a budget this past, that has just kicked off this past Friday, on the 1st of July, leading into the new financial year, people thinking that, throwing money into a problem will assist, when there's many issues of which we have assessed as the new administration. As a coalition government, we have said across the board, looking at what issues might affect one department, but you might find that the other department has that kind of solution. So, for example, you do find that there are challenges with some of our technicians who might not necessarily have fleets, might not have material, and we might not even have enough staff members, especially for critical positions, who will be able to go out in those communities so that we can have proper communication and reduction in our turnaround time. Because of community members that we do engage with, we do explain to them that we will continue having power interruptions because of aged infrastructure, as we try and improve and upgrade and refurbish some of these structures and network. But as we do so, we would hope that we would have a much quicker turnaround time in terms of getting their power back, and also communicating effectively as to how many hours or how many days it will take for us to be able to fix their problem. So the problems are there, and the solutions are definitely there as well, not necessarily budgetary solutions, but also those ones that, in terms of having the right attitude from our teams and our technicians and staff, who are always making sure that our community members get communication and they are able to help and ensure that the power does not go off for the longest time.
Councillor Sibeko, thank you very much indeed. Councillor Senzi Sibeko is a member of the Mayoral Committee for Water, Sanitation and Energy in the Metro of Ekurhuleni.